G'day cocktail lovers. This is a variation on an old-fashioned built around a high-end whiskey. The original recipe I found was called the Campbelltown, and it called for a 10-year-old single malt from the Springbank distillery, which is in Campbelltown in Scotland. It's a very up there and pricey Scotch whiskey, which I happen to not have, so I thought I would make my own version of it, and I'm going to build it around my most expensive whiskey. This is actually a local one from the Bakery Hill Distillery. This is an extremely limited edition cask strength version of their double wood single malt. This was actually only available to people who invested in the distillery so they could move from country Victoria to Metro Melbourne. They're now in Kensington. So if I was going to follow the naming convention, this would be a Kensington cocktail, not a Campbelltown one. Also, I just love the idea using really high-end ingredients in cocktails, particularly whiskey. The whiskey wankers hate it. It does their head in. They're so prescriptive of what you can and can't do with whiskey. I personally lean towards the Whiskey Tribe philosophy of a good drink is the drink you like, the way you like it. I'm a cocktail guy. It's really rare for me to drink whiskeys straight, which again would make the really hardcore whiskey people go, why have you got that really rare thing that you're wasting? Not wasting it, dude. I'm enjoying it. In fact, I'm assuming I'm going to enjoy it because I haven't tasted it yet. I will actually give it a quick taste. Okay, the surprising elements in here, as I said, it's a variation on an old-fashioned. It's not your traditional old-fashioned. This has a second life. I was halfway through a sentence and a whole different taste sensation went down. This is working really well with some really interesting elements. Here's how we make it. In a mixing glass, put 2 ounces or 60 mils of your high-end whiskey, if you dare. Then 1 ounce or 30 mils of a cherry liqueur. And finally, half an ounce or 15 mils of green chartreuse. Add ice to the glass, stir that for 20 to 25 seconds to chill and dilute the drink, and then strain that into a rocks glass over a big chunk of ice. And as it's an old-fashioned adjacent drink, I'm going to do my favourite of a twist of orange peel and a maraschino cherry on a skewer as garnishes. I suppose using green chartreuse is a humble brag as well. A lot of people are finding it hard to get. It's actually quite surprising. Just here locally, I know a couple of places where I can be guaranteed to get both green and yellow chartreuse, and I actually got some of both before the prices went up because of demand, so I'm pretty happy with that. And I am pretty happy with this. Yep, anyone who knows me knows how I love the boozy drinks. The old-fashioned is my favorite. This has really done something unusual. Like normally you just have a small amount of sugar syrup or some other sweetener in an old-fashioned. This is quite a lot, 1.5 ounces added to it besides the whiskey, and it is really giving some flavors. No surprise, cherry goes really well with whiskey. Cherry is a common tasting note in a lot of whiskies, and the green chartreuse is the surprise element. Just those herbal elements, and it's the lightest component of this cocktail, and it comes through for me quite late. Makes this a really interesting drink, and I'm quite glad I made it. And honestly, it wasn't deliberately to upset people who don't like when you use high-end ingredients in a cocktail, but you know, I've got something that I really like, and this is the way I like to have it, so that's what I'm gonna do. And I say you do what you like as well, whether you're a straight drinker or you like to use it in cocktails. I won't frown if you use a more affordable whiskey. I'm gonna go my international exchange rate. This is like 6 or 7 bottles of Jack Daniels. That's how I try to equate to people, because if I just say dollar amounts, it could be meaningless because of taxes and whatnot. But comparatively, that was probably 6 or 7 bottles of Jack Daniels. I rarely spend that much on anything, but it was a one-off and I thought I'd do it. And this is a really good drink, and I think you'd enjoy it if you tried it as well. And I hope you look after yourself and come back sometime soon. Until I do see you again, I'll say cheers.